They say silence protects power, but sometimes silence exposes it. For nearly a decade, Trevor Engelson, the man who once called Meghan Markle his wife, stayed quiet. No interviews, no books, no late-night talk shows. Nothing. Just the kind of silence that makes the world wonder, what is he really holding back? Until now, because after years of restraint, Trevor has reportedly broken that silence. Not through a scandalous tell-all, not with a dramatic public speech, but through quiet, chilling words that insiders say have shaken Hollywood and royal circles alike. According to multiple reports circulating in entertainment circles, Trevor has allegedly hinted that Meghan's story, the one the world fell in love with, may not be the whole truth. That behind the royal glow and polished PR, there might be a missing chapter. One so personal, so buried, that it changes everything we thought we knew about the Duchess. A secret marriage. Hi, take a second, or a breath. Love the drama? Hate missing out? We're just getting started. Hit subscribe if you want the truth behind the spotlight. A daughter. And the whispered possibility that Meghan Markle could be a grandmother at just 44. Now, before we go further, let's make one thing absolutely clear. No official record confirms this claim. No legal document proves it. But in the court of public opinion, silence is evidence. And Trevor's silence, broken after years of refusal, has become the loudest sound in the room. The man who once loved her is allegedly speaking. And the world is listening. Let's rewind. Back before the royal titles, before Netflix deals and podcast microphones, before paparazzi camped outside Montecito, there was simply Meghan. An actress in Toronto, chasing auditions, fighting for her next role. And at her side was Trevor Engelson, the Hollywood producer who believed in her long before the world ever did. They met in the early 2000s. He cast her in small projects. They fell in love. And for a moment, it looked like a Hollywood success story. Two dreamers, one future. But something changed. Those who knew them described the breakup as cold. Trevor reportedly received the engagement ring back in the mail. No explanation, no phone call, no closure. He was left behind as Meghan's career, and later, her destiny, skyrocketed. Then came the royal fairy tale. The palace. The interviews. The love story that captivated millions. But behind the soft focus lenses and hand-holding photo ops, something darker brewed. Because when a woman so carefully controls her image, any silence around her past becomes a story of its own. And that's exactly what's happening now. Sources, close to Trevor, reportedly describe him as measured but haunted. One longtime friend told a Los Angeles blog that Trevor feels the world only knows half of her. Another claimed he's not vindictive, just exhausted by the rewriting of history. It's subtle. Not a bombshell interview. Not a lawsuit. Just whispers. Whispered by someone who once knew every truth. And yet those whispers have ignited an inferno. Social media lit up overnight. Hashtags like Not Your Secret Daughter and Not Your Hidden Chapter began trending across X, YouTube, and Reddit. Fans begged for proof. Critics dismissed it as manufactured drama. But one thing no one could deny. Trevor's name was back in the headlines. And Meghan's carefully crafted image suddenly had a shadow. To understand why this moment matters, you have to understand who Meghan is to the modern media machine. She's not just a duchess. She's a brand. A narrative. The living symbol of self-made meets royal made. Every interview, every speech, every Netflix frame, built around one core idea, rebirth. From ordinary to extraordinary. From rejection to reinvention. From actress to icon. But every myth needs a clean beginning. A first page that glows. And that's where this story fractures. Because Trevor's alleged hints suggest that Meghan's story may have started long before the public version we were told. The rumored Vegas marriage. The alleged missing year. The whispers of a daughter raised quietly in another family's home. These claims have been around for years, buried, dismissed, and resurfacing like ghosts each time her image becomes too perfect to question. And this time, those ghosts have Trevor's shadow behind them. Still, to be responsible, we say it again, these remain unverified rumors. No court filing. No legal admission. No public acknowledgement. But in the world of fame where perception is reality, sometimes the rumor does more damage than the truth ever could. Trevor's words, brief as they were, carry the kind of weight that only silence can earn. Because silence, broken, feels like confession. even when it isn't. And that's why this story isn't just another tabloid twist. It's about control, narrative control, emotional control, public control. Because when you've built your empire on image, when your brand depends on the version of you people believe, the past becomes a liability. And Trevor Engelson? He's the one man who saw the unfiltered version before the world ever did. So now the question becomes, if Meghan's story isn't the story we think it is, who wrote the real one? And what happens when the author wants to change her own ending? Because Trevor's silence was never empty. It was strategy, and now that he's reportedly spoken, the world wants to know, what truth did he leave unsaid? They called it a gap year, a time of travel, a year of self-discovery before college. But according to critics, it might have been something else entirely. Because in Meghan Markle's official biography, 1 full year simply drifts by in mystery. No verifiable travel records, no known program, no trace of where she lived or what she did. It's as if that chapter was quietly deleted from history. Publicly, the story sounds harmless, a young woman finding herself before entering Northwestern University. But behind the scenes, that missing year has become the foundation of every theory about the life she left behind. And this is where Trevor Engelson's alleged comments take center stage. Those close to him claim he once warned friends, there are pieces of her past that don't fit the version she tells now. That sentence alone changed everything. Because once the world heard that line, people started searching for those missing pieces. That's when the old rumor resurfaced. The supposed Vegas marriage to a man named Joe Giuliano. Allegedly, they were teenagers. Allegedly, it ended within months. And allegedly, it was sealed so completely that no official trace remains. To some, it's just internet mythology. But others find the precision unsettling. A date, a city, a name, and a gap that fits perfectly into Meghan's forgotten year. Still, there is no proof. Only whispers. Online sleuths say sealed records exist. Royal reporters insist they don't. And the truth floats somewhere between. Yet Trevor's subtle warning has given those whispers new life. Because silence from someone who could confirm or deny carries weight. And Trevor has chosen silence again. Analysts say this is the power of omission. When a person doesn't deny, people fill in the blanks themselves. And in the internet age, imagination spreads faster than fact. Observers point out another coincidence. During that supposed missing year, Meghan was rarely photographed. Old friends describe her as distant and unreachable. One even claimed she returned to the US different, more polished, more careful, as if she'd left something behind. It could mean nothing. Or it could mean everything. Meanwhile, Meghan's official story moves on smoothly. Graduation, auditions, suits, and the transformation into a global name. Every step carefully documented. Every image perfect. Every question answered, except that 1 year. PR strategists call this a controlled gap. You acknowledge it lightly, give it a positive spin, and move on before anyone notices. It's an elegant technique. Until someone like Trevor says there's more beneath the surface. And suddenly, that elegant silence becomes a siren. Supporters say these theories are cruel and sexist, that Meghan has been targeted precisely because she's confident, outspoken, and biracial. They argue that rumors about hidden children or marriages are designed to undermine successful women. They may be right, but others counter that the issue isn't identity, it's consistency. If there's nothing to hide, why the disappearing details? Why the ever-changing timeline? Why, as one royal correspondent put it, does every unanswered question lead to another locked door? The fascination isn't just about Meghan. It's about the psychology of reinvention. What drives someone to rewrite parts of their life? Is it shame? Self-protection? Or the pure survival instinct of someone determined to escape limitation? Those who worked with Meghan early in her career describe her as relentless, focused, charming, and strategic. One former colleague reportedly said she could turn any setback into a storyline. And that skill is exactly what made her powerful enough to step into royalty and command global attention. But power comes with an opposite, visibility. Once the world can see you, it wants to see through you, and that's why Trevor's alleged comments sting so sharply. Because he represents the version of Meghan the world never met, the unbranded, unpolished, unfiltered woman before the crown. In every rumor about a missing year, there's a psychological wound. The the question of what happens when the truth becomes inconvenient to the story you're selling. Some say that's cruel speculation. Others say it's accountability. Trevor's silence hangs in the middle, shaping both sides. Because he doesn't accuse, he doesn't defend. He simply exists as the one who could confirm everything, and chooses not to. And that choice has made his silence louder than any headline. In this story, there are no villains or saints. Only storytellers and survivors. Only those who speak. And those who don't. Because in the end, history isn't written by the powerful. It's written by whoever controls the version the world believes, and right now that version is starting to crack. When a rumor refuses to die, it stops being gossip. It becomes folklore. And that's what the story of Meghan Markle's alleged hidden chapter has become. An evolving modern legend fed by silence, contradiction, and curiosity. After Trevor Engelson's reported remarks, the conversation exploded again. Talk show hosts dissected timelines. Royal commentators compared documents. Podcasts titled episodes The Erased Year, and millions of viewers replayed every old interview, searching for one missing facial twitch, one uneven breath, one glance that might prove something no one can confirm. But beneath the noise lies something quieter and far more human. For Meghan, every appearance is now shadowed by the question of authenticity. For Trevor, every refusal to elaborate is interpreted as proof. Two people, once bound by marriage, now orbiting the same rumor from opposite sides of fame. Reporters note that Trevor's life today looks simple. A new marriage, a child, work behind the camera instead of in front of it. His posts show gratitude, family, stillness. He rarely mentions the past, yet even silence leaves footprints. Every word he doesn't say becomes a headline someone else writes. Supporters of Meghan call this obsession cruel. They say the world punishes a woman for controlling her own narrative. They remind us that no record, no photo, no legal trace exists of any secret marriage or child. That's the hard evidence, and it matters. But skeptics answer with something colder. Absence is also a kind of evidence. They point to the sealed Nevada rumor, the vanished year, the rewritten timelines, and ask, why would such details be so hard to verify if everything were ordinary? Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's curation. Maybe it's strategy. Because Meghan's life has always been an exercise in strategy. From auditions to activism, she mastered the art of message control. When she speaks, she doesn't just talk, she performs. Every word serves an image: resilience, independence, rebirth. And that's why the whispers sting. They don't accuse her of crime, they accuse her of editing. In the digital age, editing is survival. We all crop our pain, filter our faces, caption our truth. But when the edited life becomes a global brand, the audience starts demanding the director's cut. Trevor's alleged hints cracked open that expectation. Suddenly, people didn't just want the fairy tale, they wanted the blooper reel. And when they couldn't find it, they made one themselves. Inside royal public relations offices, damage control reportedly turned frantic. One former consultant told a British outlet, "The palace fears speculation more than scandal. Scandal you can deny. Speculation you can't catch, so they chose silence." A silence that looked graceful, until it started to look strategic, and with every passing week, the rumor grew stronger simply because no one crushed it. Sociologists call this the echo of absence, the way unanswered questions amplify themselves until they sound like truth. That's how folklore starts. That's how myths are born. There's irony here. Meghan once told students, "You have the right to rewrite your story." Millions applauded the message. But rewriting is a delicate art. Erase too much and people begin to wonder what was there before the edit. Trevor represents that before. Not an enemy, not a villain. Just a reminder that every reinvention leaves fingerprints. He knew her when she was unknown, before publicists, before headlines, before palaces. He watched her learn that visibility is a form of armor. And perhaps he understood something the world is only now realizing. Armor always hides scars. So what's the truth? Maybe there is no hidden daughter. Maybe there was. Maybe the truth was never the point. Because this story, like every royal story, says more about us than about them. About our addiction to revelation, our need to see perfection cracked open, our refusal to believe that someone could rise without secret machinery behind them. In that sense, Meghan has become the mirror for a generation raised on exposure. And Trevor, the echo reminding us that some stories are never fully told, they're only retold with new shadows each time. No official investigation will solve this. No statement will end it. Because in celebrity culture, endings don't sell. Only questions do, and maybe that's why both of them stay quiet. Because the only thing louder than a confession is a question that never gets answered. So we end where we began, with silence. The kind that protects. The kind that destroys. The kind that makes people believe something must be hidden simply because it isn't spoken aloud. In the end, maybe Trevor's silence was never revenge. Maybe it was mercy. Maybe it was the only way to let the past die without killing the myth, because every legend needs a secret. And every secret needs someone brave enough not to tell it. And when the cameras fade and the headlines move on, the question will still remain. What truth did silence protect? And what lie did it create? In the end, silence said more than any headline ever could.